Hi all. Today let's see how we can integrate Redux state management into a React application using the Redux toolkit. So before we start creating the React Redux application, let's take a look at some of the components which constitute a Redux state management application. So it basically consists of the UI part, which will be created using any framework like React, and it consists of a store which will contain the current state as an object. And the three principles of Redux is that there will be only a single store in a Redux based application. And the second principle is that the UI or the network will not directly modify the store. So if you need to modify the store, it will be done only through an action. So that is what we see here in the dispatch. And the third principle is that the state is immutable. So if you need to create a new state, you need to create a clone of the current state, and you will make the modification on that, so that we can use the time travel debugging and other features which will enable us to replay the state of our application. So Redux basically creates a unidirectional flow of data. So when the user initially clicks a button in the UI, an event is dispatched through the dispatch method of the store, and that event is the action. So the action is basically an object which consists of two keys, the type and the payload. The type is used for identifying the action, and the payload is the data which we might need to update in the store. So basically the action will go to the store, and there we have a pure function called reducer. So this reducer will be taking the current state of our application and also the action which it receives, and it will be creating a new state by creating a clone of the current state and modifying it with the action payload. So once the new state is created, it gets applied back to the UI. So this is how the data flow happens in a Redux React application. So for creating a React Redux application, we can make use of the Redux toolkit, which provides convenient wrappers around the Redux core methods and functions, and we can make use of them to easily create a Redux application. So using this, it provides us the best practices which needs to be done as part of creating the Redux application, and it also prevents us from making mistakes in our Redux structure. So it internally makes use of the React Redux library, which connects the React and the Redux components. So now let's go ahead and create a React Redux application with the Redux toolkit. So we can use the create React tab, and we can give the application name, and we can give the template as Redux. And using this, we can easily create a React Redux application which makes use of the Redux toolkit. So our application is created, and you can see that the Redux.js toolkit has been introduced in the package.json and it has been installed. Now if we go to our application, you can see that it has automatically created a store file. So inside the store.js file, we are calling the configure store function, which will take the store configuration as a parameter, and inside that we are passing an object with reducer as a key. So this will contain the list of reducers. So here we are giving the counter as the key. So inside our store there will be a key called counter, and inside that it will create an object which will contain the corresponding state. So here we are giving the counter reducer, which we will take a look in a minute. Now we have created the store. Now if you go to the index.js file, this store we are importing from the store.js file, and we are providing a provider tag. So this basically binds the store to the entire React application. So once you give this, it will make the Redux store available to all the components which are provided within the provider. So we are passing the store as a props. Now we can take a look at the counter. So basically we can split up our store into different slices. So here we have created the counter slice.js. So this is the part which we saw earlier in our store. So the counter reducer. So inside the counter slice.js, we are calling the create slice function. Inside that we are passing a name. So this will be used for creating namespace of our actions, and we are also passing the initial state. So our initial state consists of two keys, the value and the status. So the value we are setting it as 0 and the status is idle. So, and another key is the reducers. So here we can define all the reducer functions which we want to handle our state. So here we have given three, the increment, decrement and the increment by amount. So here you can see that it's a pure function which will accept the current state as the input, and here when you look, actually you can see that we are directly modifying this value, but actually inside the create slice they are making use of the library called immer, so which makes the current state as immutable, and internally it will be creating a copy of the current state, and only on that it will be applying the change. So basically increment, what it does is it will increment the value by 1, decrement will decrement it by 1, and increment by amount, it will accept an action and it will take the current payload from the action and it will add to the current state value. So the create slice also automatically creates the actions from our reducers. So if you come down, you can see that the counter slice object which is created, it contains a key called actions which will have the corresponding named actions, like whatever name we gave for the reducer, the same name the actions will also be created. We can put a console.log here and we will display the counter slice so that we can get a clear picture. Now let's go to our application. I am refreshing it. So here we can see our counter slice object. So inside that we have the three action creators which we have the name similar to the reducer. So whatever name we give inside the reducer, the exact name will be used for the action also. So these are basically action creators, and also we can see the name which we gave initially, and similarly the reducers also. So this is the reducer which we will be exporting, the counter slice dot reducer, and we will be using that inside our store. So now let's go to our main app.js file. So here you can see that the state is not being used and only inside the counter.js the state is being used. So now let's go to the counter.js. So the counter.js is basically this part of our application. So you can see that there is a decrement button and an increment plus button. So initially inside our counter we are making use of a selector. So this is use selector used from the React Redux library. So using the selector we will be able to get a particular portion of our current state. So let's go to this select count. This is actually defined inside our counter slice. So here you can see that this is the select count constant, and actually we are trying to get the value of the counter from within the state. So this arrow function we are actually making use of within the counter.js. So once we pass it in the use selector, we will get that particular key. So the key is counter.value. So we got the count and we will be displaying that count here in our counter.js. So another function is the use dispatch function, which we are also taking from the React Redux library, and we are assigning it to a dispatch constant. Now when we press the decrement value, that is the minus, we are actually dispatching the decrement action. So this is the action creator. So you can see that actually we will be reducing the current counter value by 1. So here I have actually installed the Redux DevTools. I will open the Redux DevTools so that we can get a clear picture. So I'll close the and let me press the minus. So initially you can see that the current state of our application is that we have a key called counter which we defined inside the store, and the value is 0 and status is idle. So I am pressing the minus. So now you can see that an action was dispatched with the name as counter slash decrement. So the counter is the namespace which we gave inside our create slice, and this is the name of our action. So the new value is -1, and you can see the diff here, the value that got changed. So similarly, we have the increment which again adds the value. So let's press the plus icon. So now you can see that a different action is dispatched and it increments the value. Similarly, we have the add amount as well, which we saw earlier. So here we have given the value. So we are internally making use of a use state, and the initial value is 2. So we are assigning it to the increment amount, and we are converting it to a number and using it in the increment value. So the increment value, yeah, we are using it here. Now when we press the add amount button, we are dispatching the increment by amount action creator, and inside that we are passing the value 2. So this will be part of the action.payload, and it will be incrementing the current state by 2. So now let's press our add amount button. So now you can see that the action is dispatched, and if you check the action, the type is what we see here, and the payload is 2, which we gave here. So now the current state will be moved from 0 to 2. Now when we check the application, we have a button called add async here. So now let's check the code for that. So this is the button. So on clicking of that, we are sending a new action called the increment async. So let us check out that. So you can see that here for creating that action, we are making use of a create async thunk function. So basically this is a thunk function which can be used for handling async logic. So inside the create async, we are giving the name of the action. So this is the name which will be used for create the created action, and we can also pass a callback. So this will do some async logic and it will return the data. So this will be treated as the payload for our action. So here inside our async callback, we are actually we are making use of a promise and set timeout in order to mock the API, and whatever amount you pass inside, it will be returned back. So here in the counter.js, we have passed the increment value which is 2. So basically we will get it back in the response. So in order to handle this async action, we have an option called extra reducers. So this key is mainly used for handling any actions which were defined outside this create slice. So as you can see, it was created outside the create slice. So for handling that, we can add the case here. So a thunk action will have basically 3 states. One is the pending, the fulfilled, and rejected. So the pending state will be created whenever we initiate the action. So when it initiates this async action, the state becomes pending. So at that time we are creating the status as loading, and once it is completed we will return it to idle, and we will also increment the value with the payload. So now let's see the code in action. So let us also add a debug point so that we can see the exact flow. So let's go to the source. So let's put a breakpoint here when the action is initiated, and we will also put a breakpoint in this two case statements. So now we are going to press the add async. So initially it comes to the status and it is setting it as loading since the increment async is pending, and once it is done it will go to the actual callback, and once it is executed it will come back here. Now you can see the payload, it will be having the value 2. So here if we go into our Redux dev tool, you can see that the initially the action counter fetch count pending was sent. In that the status was changed from idle to loading, and after that the fetch count fulfilled was called, and inside that the value changed from 2 to 4 and the status turned back to idle. So here we have one more button called add if odd. So let's go to the counter.js. Here actually they are sending another action called the increment if odd action. So if you go to the definition of that, you can see that actually it is a anonymous function which returns another anonymous function and accepts the dispatch and also the current state. So using this current state, we are fetching the count value using the callback cell state.counter.value, and we are checking the current value and dividing by 2, and in case the balance is 1 then only we will be dispatching the increment by amount. So similar to this we can write thunks by hand. This is the way we can conditionally dispatch actions and update the states. So now let's see this in action. So when I press this button, currently it won't do anything because the value is even. Now I am incrementing it. So the increment action is called. Now if I press add if odd, you can see that the counter increment by amount is called and the payload is 2 and the new value is 7. Since the Redux state is immutable, we will be able to replay through all our actions using the time travel debugging. So inside the Redux DevTools, I am going to replay all our actions and we will be able to see that reflected in our view. So here you can see that each of the action is getting sent and the corresponding value is getting updated here. Hope you are able to get a good idea about how to use the Redux toolkits in a React Redux application. See you soon. Thank you.